You know what time it is. If you don't know, you will. Hello and welcome to A Pod with CAHN, the pod in which we discuss all things related to health in the Afro-Caribbean community.
And just a few housekeeping rules before we dive into today's conversation. So don't forget to follow us on social. So on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at CAHN_UK, and on Facebook by searching CAHN UK. You can also find us on YouTube and LinkedIn by searching Caribbean and African Health Network.
Brilliant. And we always want everyone to be part of this conversation. So if you want to join the conversation, please use the hashtag CAHNTalk. That's CAHNTALK. And my name is Sam. My co-hosts today are
Shekinnah.
And Diana Asante.
Fantastic. And today's episode, we're just gonna, keep it light, keep it brief, just have a quick chat about, what we're currently all going through in the UK and across the world, really. We've had a couple heat waves here and there. Summer has come to an end. The cost of living and, whatever we feel like needs to be discussed today, we'll discuss that. And yeah, so as I said before, join the conversation, follow us on our socials, as Shekinnah said. All this will be in the description, but enough about all that. Housekeeping has been done. Enough about all that. So yeah, let's get right into it. So how has your summer been, Diana?
Right. Thanks, Sam, and thanks, Shekinnah. It's lovely to be having this discussion, and especially as the sun is going down a bit and things are getting a bit cooler. My summer has been great. It's been a very busy and a hectic one. We've been moving house, so that's been a bit tricky. But it's been lovely. Lots of lovely weather, very hot. And as a GP as well, seeing patients who've been suffering from dehydration, the effects of the heat wave and all sorts. But also a bit of a cool weather, haven't we had this sort of last week? It's been really nice and cool. And that's a very welcome moment for all of us. What about yours, Shekinnah?
Yeah, my summer's been interesting. I've gotten to travel around and do different projects with young people, which I've never done before. So I got to go just last week, I got to go to Chester, Southport, and I went to Chorley on Saturday. So it's been a very busy week. And then throughout my summer, I went to Wales. I've seen places like Scotland and stuff. It's been very like adventurous, probably my most adventurous summer. And obviously with a heat wave, I used to think I loved heat till that heat wave came. Because I was like, wow, this is actually so hot. Like the fan, you actually like put the fan on and the fan's not cool anymore. It's just circulating heat around the room. Yeah. It was a very interesting week, but overall, I'd definitely say I've enjoyed summer. It's been great. Yeah. What about you, Sam?
Wonderful. I've had a pretty good summer too. Just like you, Shekinnah, I did a bit of traveling. I went to Berlin. That was my first time in Berlin, which is quite beautiful. I like that city. I recommend if you get a chance, do go. I know you said you went to Wales and Scotland. I want to hear a bit more about that too throughout this pod. Because it does. I think everyone needs to travel, like get out of the city and go to, even if it's just like going to the next town or city over. It's also pretty cool. I think that's important for us to all do. Just before we talk about traveling, Dr. Diana, I had a question that popped into my head when you said people were coming to your practice to talk about, to see you about dehydration. How does someone get dehydrated when it's hot? Like, I don't understand. Do people not drink enough water? What is it like? Could you just explain that a little bit?
That's very interesting for you to raise that, Sam, because I think it's something we don't consciously think about, is it? We don't think about the fact that we may not be getting enough fluids into our bodies, and we could be getting dehydrated. And also in this part of the country, of the world, I beg your pardon, where the weather is naturally cooler, and we're drinking everything else but water most of the time. You almost forget that you need to consciously drink water. So people drink lots of teas, coffees, mocha, cappuccino, you name it, hot chocolate, whatever, juices, all sorts. But not that many people consciously drink a lot of water. So when your body is lacking enough water, so there are different compartments in the body, and when your body is lacking enough water, just to simplify it, it means that it hasn't got enough fluid to run on. And water forms your blood, water helps you flush
Oh,
out the kidneys, water causes the hormones, the enzymes, and all sorts to work. It's a diluent for any chemicals in the body to sort of be diluted in, but also to washed away in. So when we don't drink enough fluids, we do get dehydrated. And commonly, it's things that you may not think about. So people feel tired, they feel a bit dizzy, they feel faint, they just feel fatigued, or they feel as though they're going to pass out. Or some people, when they get really dehydrated, become very unwell, especially the elderly people can become unwell. They can have falls. It makes them more prone to
ooh.
infections. So it is important that we drink lots, and not just in the summer months, but throughout the year. We all need to stay well hydrated. So yeah, that's a really good one to bring up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Something that just came to mind because you were saying the importance of water and its
Mm,
function in the body. So with me, I'm actually the opposite. I love water. Like I'll drink, like I've got
yeah.
my bottle right here. So is there such thing as drinking too much water? And what can that do to the
Probably
body?
not, because it's very hard for you to drink too much.
Okay.
Although saying that, there are some medical conditions where people feel as though they need to keep drinking and drinking, and they overdrink. And if you have
Hmm.
that kind of situation, then it might be a pointer to an underlying condition. So, for instance, people with diabetes can sometimes present with drinking excessively. So just as a ballpark figure, if you're an
Oh,
adult, you're aiming for about 2 to 3 liters of fluids per day over a 24-hour period. So that's not just drinking 2 to 3 liters of water. That's drinking, water and, the water in your soups or in your tea or in your coffee, etc. So you're talking of your total fluids. But you can imagine that if someone was drinking like 4 or 5 liters, that could be classed as over the top. And sometimes Shekinnah, people with
Right.
diabetes might be drinking too much, or some people with some chemical imbalances might be drinking excessively, and that can sometimes be a sign that something's not right. So a small proportion of people might find themselves doing that, and that could signify something underlying. But trust me, the vast majority of us are just not drinking enough. And it's good if you've got your water bottle. I always
Right.
have my bottle next to me at work as well, or in my bag, and I make that effort. And also, it's drinking throughout the day, so drinking at regular intervals, not just waiting till you're going to bed and then
Yeah.
you down like 4 gallons of
it,
water.
It's just down in water. Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. That's very. Thanks for the crucial pointers there. I never thought about the waters and other things like soups and all of that. I just thought I only counted the water I drank from the bottle. I'm like, yeah, this is the regular amount that I know I've drank. So yeah, no, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
And yeah, guys, so drink your water. It's been hot, as the doctor said. It's not just in the heat that you need to drink water. So continue drinking that water because and also, yeah, what I realized is that water tastes so differently when at different parts of like the day. Like, let's say you wake up, water tastes so sweet, and then at night you're like, oh, if I drink this water now, I'm gonna go need a toilet before bed. So like, water just tastes. I like, you know what? Yeah, I'm on Shekinnah's wavelength too. Like, we need to drink more water, and yeah,
Yeah.
I like
But
it.
the other
Let's all
thing,
do that.
some of the elderly patients specifically. I keep talking about the elderly because for those of you who don't know, I'm a general practitioner, but I have a special interest in frailty and elderly care. So I love my elderly patients,
Okay,
and we say
cool,
to them,
cool.
"You need to drink a
Nice.
bit more," and
Nice.
they go, "Yes, but if I do, I'll be up all night, Dr. Asante." So you've hit the nail on the head. The timing is also important, but space it out. And obviously, you don't want to be drinking loads, say an hour, 2 hours before you go to bed, because you will be up all night, and
Hmm.
especially for much older
Yeah.
patients. But in general, the gist of the whole thing is that if you drink regularly through the day, then you keep yourself well hydrated. And by all means, make sure that just before you're going to bed, that's not when you're downing lots of water. And also caffeinated drinks as well. Do you know that caffeinated drinks make you go to the toilet a
Yeah.
lot? So things like
I didn't know
coffee,
that.
tea,
Wow.
fizzy drinks with caffeine in it, anything that's got caffeine
All
in
right.
it is a stimulant to make you wee. So if you drink caffeine, you will also be weeing a lot. So that's another one to watch as well. Yes.
Duly noted.
Interesting.
duly noted. So
Yeah.
yeah, stay off the caffeine, guys. Well, drink water, stay off the caffeine.
That's the idea.
Try your
Try your
best. Just
best
try
or
your
have
best.
decaf.
Yeah.
Minimize the
Uh,
caffeine.
on the topic of water, I was thinking about the Highlands and like how Scotland has the best water apparently because they're in the Highlands, and yeah, like scenic routes, scenic places, and all those things. Do you think that affects people's way of life? Because as you said, you're a general practitioner and you deal with a lot of old people. So, do you feel like old people that have a lot of more scenic things in their life enjoy that aspect of living more, or
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
reaching or
we all
something,
do,
but
don't we? I
it's
think it's not just the elderly. I think everyone will benefit from scenic places, living in areas where there's more nature, there's more scenery, and it just has a way of calming you down, doesn't it? You feel a bit
hmm
more calm in
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
You're connecting with nature more. It attracts people exploring nature and exercising more, and it just slows you
yeah.
down, because if you're in the middle of a very rushed and busy city where there's all the hustle and the bustle and running around going on, naturally you're paced up. We pace up to our
Oh yeah.
environments, don't we?
Mm.
If you're in a
Yeah.
very busy, I think
Yeah.
there was a I can't remember whether it was a documentary that I sort of watched or whether it was just a study that I'd read somewhere. But someone had made an observation just sitting on the edge somewhere and just watching people in the middle of London, just going back and forth, and measured the pace of people walking and going back and forth. And then transposed the same study into another area, which was very calm, very serene, very chilled, countryside, laid back. And naturally, people in the calm area and the chilled area were walking much slower. They were a bit more relaxed. The stress space was
Mm.
less.
Yeah.
Whereas in London, everyone is rushing, or maybe in Manchester, or, we'll all
Yeah.
be rushing, that sort of thing. So it does have an impact. And generally, the elderly prefer the quieter places. But even younger people sometimes do as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Want to go somewhere nice and quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Yeah, this reminds me of a conversation I had like over the weekend. So I asked people at the place I went to, would you prefer to live in the city or the countryside? And I was not shocked. Everyone was like, city, city. I'm a city person, kind of. But then they did mention, like you mentioned, the benefits of being in the countryside. And often I also find when I go to places that are in the countryside, you often do see
Mhm.
elderly people. So I was having a conversation with one guy and he was saying, oh, yes, because they can retire, they don't have to work in the city and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I also get the mental health side of it. So it's always good to have that scenery because it's like you're admiring nature at the same time. And it
Mhm.
paces you down. Whereas in the city, I don't know what it is, if there's like a trigger in the amount of light that there is or something that
You're onto
everyone just
something.
wants to
You're onto
go, go,
something.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it
No.
is
Yeah.
interesting to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how was it when you went to Germany then, Sam? Because that's Berlin is a busy city, isn't
Um.
it? So.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would say yeah, it is a busy city, but there was still spaces. It felt like there was space to breathe, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Okay.
I went on a walk on my own in the like late evening, and it was just refreshing. Like the smells that you could smell, it was different. Like the buildings, everything. Like it had the hustle and bustle of the city life, but at the same time there was like some
Mhm.
calm to it. So it was quite refreshing,
Mm,
and I'd recommend it because the buildings there are
Mhm.
beautiful. The people there are beautiful. The food there is lovely. Like everyone's so friendly, and like they all want to talk to you and stuff like that. So yeah, like I do understand the hustle and bustle of life is great. I would think I'd want to live in a city, but I'd say I want to live in a place where there's enough
Yeah.
greenery, like parks. If there's a healthy
yeah.
balance, and that would make me a bit more
Yeah.
comfortable. But I think we all want to stay in the city because there's always something to do. There's always a little bit of our own adventure
True.
there.
True.
So,
Mhm.
but yeah, no, definitely. I think today I'm learning a bit more, taking a step back, drinking
Yes,
enough water,
Yeah, yeah.
enjoying the little
that's
things in
right.
life,
That's right.
because yeah, That's
And,
very
and
crucial.
even as we
Hey, that's
sort of
nice.
link it into the cost of living crisis with things, prices going up and things
Yeah.
being expensive and all of that, that is the reality that we all face, isn't it? Irrespective of
Yeah.
where we are
Yeah.
in terms of location or social class, we're all being hit with the same challenge at the moment, nationally,
Hmm.
globally. And it's
Yeah.
just those moments where you can just take a moment to step back, to try and wind down, to de-stress in whatever form you can, which doesn't cost you anything, which we should sort
True.
of tap
True.
into. I know that the CAHN ours and CAHN has a lot of programs on managing anxiety and depression and reducing stress and all the programs that we sort of present to help people to de-stress and have a better work-life balance. And these sorts of things come for free. So a walk, as you said, Sam, just
Hmm.
admiring nature, as you said, Shekinnah, just slowing down a bit, taking on a hobby here and there, doing a bit of gardening as the weather changes and the sun goes down a bit. Um, and all of those will make us healthier, as our healthy heart session pushes, but also doesn't cost us.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. I mean, I remember during lockdown, I did try and pick up walking, whereas like every morning before I start work, I'd go on a walk. And I don't know what happened, but I just stopped. Maybe like post COVID, I'm like, okay, like everyone's out, like I can just chill and relax. But like I realized that really did affect like the way I showed up to work.
Hmm.
Just going on a walk in the morning, it just really, like you said, it doesn't cost anything, and it does really help your mental health as well. It like sets you up for the day, like
Yeah.
you've achieved something,
Yeah.
you've taken care of yourself for maybe like a 30-minute walk, and then you're back to like your desk. So you're not just stuck in one place, but you're actually like moving about. Is so essential.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And it releases all
Yeah.
those positive hormones as well, doesn't it? Just to get you going for your day.
Yeah.
You're feeling a lot more positive, a lot more energized. You feel like you're able to take on challenges. There are some days you wake up and you're like, do I really have to? And there are other days that you
Facts.
just feel like
Yeah. Oh
I
gosh.
can conquer the world, bring on the world for me.
Yeah.
And I can do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
certainly exercise does that. Tones our muscles, good for our heart, our brain. So lots of health benefits to exercising. Yeah.
Mondays are generally the day I'm like, it's a Monday. Hand on heads, it's a Monday, guys. It's a Monday.
Oh gosh.
But
I don't
yeah,
know.
I don't know.
I
I
don't know.
don't
Is
know.
that a cultural thing? Because I see that all over like social media and stuff like, oh, Monday. But when it's Friday, it's like Friday. Like everyone's excited for Friday. I don't know if it's like something that's been embedded in the culture where it's like, oh, it's Monday again. Because someone like my dad, he's like, I promise I'll never have a bad day. And I really admire him for that, just because he shows up to work and he says everyone at his workplace is like, oh, how are you so happy? And my dad's just walking along singing like, yeah, it's Monday. So I'm like, I need some of his energy because
Hundred
yeah, I
percent.
don't know how we got to the place where it's like, oh, Monday again. Maybe because it's like the weekend, we
Yeah.
chilled,
Yeah.
and then Monday back to like, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Hopefully we can break away from that and be like
Energetic on a
energetic
Monday.
Energetic
sometimes
Yeah.
on
Mondays.
Mondays.
Should we
Yeah,
start
sometimes.
energetic Mondays?
We
Oh
need to
god.
we need to
But guys,
recode
if you're
Mondays and
feeling,
make put a more of a positive spin on Mondays, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think you're absolutely right. The whole
yeah,
concept of Monday just being that dreary day of the week and the start to it doesn't help.
Hmm.
And maybe we need to recode it like this is the beginning of a week. I've got the opportunity
yeah,
to do something great, something right. I'm full of
yeah,
That's a
energy.
great way to look at it.
yeah,
That's a great way
yeah,
to look at it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna have to
yeah.
practice that next Monday. So check in with me next Monday to see if I'm
We
a go
will
getter.
find out.
I'm a go getter. But yeah, guys,
Oh,
if you're
gosh.
enjoying the podcast, let us know. Use the hashtag Can't Talk. We want to know what your favorite water brand is. That's the most important thing for me, I
Oh
think,
gosh.
because
Oh my
we all know that
days.
water tastes differently. I know people down
Thank
south in yeah, she whispered thank you. But yeah, no,
you.
people down south apparently the water tastes horrible, but yeah, that's a shame. But let us know what your favorite water brand is. We encourage you to go on more scenic walks. Take some personal time for yourself. As something my mom always says, it's like no matter what. me, Sam, would always like make time out for myself, which is true. Like I feel like that's important. You cannot always be, be a go getter. You gotta have some time to relax, chill, watch a show, go to the cinema.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely join the conversation with Can't Talk. Follow us on socials, and yeah, we appreciate you guys listening in. Do you guys have anything else to say to the folks?
Just also try and see if you can put a positive spin on your Monday, and next time you can tell us about how you've managed to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. 100%. I agree. That's what I have to say. I agree.
Brilliant. So yeah, thank you for listening to our pod today. We have a, upcoming pods coming up soon. So have a look out for that, and give us a review rating on Apple Podcasts. We would like to hear the reviews. And, if you have any questions as well, you want to ask us, if you want to ask Dr. Diana a question, you want to ask me a question, you want to ask Shekinnah a question, use the hashtag Can't Talk so we can find these questions and get them answered. So yeah, have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, morning, whatever you're doing. If you're walking, if you're running, jogging, sleeping while you're listening to this. But yeah, have a wonderful one of those. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.